Hey friends, welcome back. I am in between recording the Super Bowl video for this year, and I wanted to come on, and my family's coming for dinner. Our granddaughter's been with us for the weekend, and so they're coming to pick her up. So they're going to be joining us for dinner. So I've got to put something together real quick for them. So I thought I would take you guys along with me as I throw together some biscuits real quick, along with a chicken and cheese soup. It is a keto friendly soup, so my husband can enjoy it. It's actually really good. I made it one day just trying to get something for him together so he could have something when I was making soups that weren't keto friendly, for my daughters and I. So I went ahead and created this one, and it was really good. So I'm going to make it tonight because it's super fast and super easy to do. So the first thing I want to do is get the biscuits going so that way they can bake. I need to look at my recipe. 450 degrees. So I need to go ahead and warm up my oven and get it going to 450. Alright, so let me go ahead and gather some of my ingredients. I need sugar, salt, baking powder. Okay, so this is not a recipe I've used before, so we're going to try something new together and see how they turn out. And hopefully they work, and I've got about 30 minutes to try to put all of this together. So let's get going here. So in my bowl, I have 3 cups of all-purpose flour. To it, I'm going to be adding 3 tablespoons of sugar. Then I'm going to add half a teaspoon of salt. Teaspoons of baking powder, half a teaspoon of cream of tartar, which is interesting. I have never added this into biscuits before, so we're going to give it a try and see what happens. Alright, and so we're going to just sift all these together. I'm going to go get a fork real quick. I'm just going to whisk these together. I can't find my pastry cutter, and I know I have one, but because of the move, I'm not really sure where it is, so we're going to have to do this by hand. So to this, we got cold butter, and we're going to be adding in 3/4 of a cup. So I've got half a stick. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1/4 of another one. Now, you can put this in a food processor. You can also do this in your mixer as well. We're going to just do it really quick by hand, and I'll show you how you can cut the butter in and do it by hand. We did this many times when I worked in the kitchen, just because it was a quick and easy way. So I'm going to just go ahead and cut them up into little pieces. Let me turn this all the way here. I'm going to break that up, drop it in here, and I'm going to do the same for this one. Okay, so if you don't have a pastry cutter or a food processor, you can do this by hand. And all you're going to do, yes, my hands are clean, so no one freak out, is you're just going to start kind of crumbling the butter into the flour. And again, a food processor, a pastry cutter makes this step so much easier. And so or even a mixer. A mixer you can use as well. You don't want to work with the butter too much because you don't want it to become warm. You want it to stay cold when you make the biscuits. But basically, you're just crumbling the butter into the flour. So we're going to do this really quick. Okay, so that is all. I don't know how well you can see that in the camera, but that is all you're looking for, is for it to just be in clumps. Now that's as far as we're going to take it right now with our hands. Okay, so in my cup of water, not water, oh my goodness, in my cup of milk, I have, it's 1 cup of milk and I have 1 egg. And again, this is not anything I've ever seen in a biscuit either, but we're going to give it a try and see what happens. But I am going to whisk this up just to make sure that the egg is incorporated. Okay, it looks like it is. I'm going to pour it over. Another thing I want to do too is I want to turn these into garlic biscuits. So I'm going to add in a tablespoon of granulated garlic to it to really give it some garlic flavor. I feel like that'll go well with the cheddar chicken soup, or the cheese chicken soup that we're making. So let me get a spoon. I should just take this. And we're just going to mix it together enough to wet all the ingredients. We don't want to mix it too much because what we're going to do is we're going to turn it out onto the surface and we're going to begin to create layers. All right, and to see how that looks right there, that's all you're looking for. You want to stop right there, and I'll show you how we're going to continue to build this. Let me grab the flour. All right, so I'm just going to put some flour here and then spread it out. I'm going to set some over to the side, and then I'm just going to dump all of this onto my cutting board. All right. And so it's going to look like a big pile of a mess, and you're like, how is this going to turn into biscuits? You're going to take this, just flour your hands slightly, and you're going to start to try to fold it onto itself, and then turn it, and then fold it again. It will come together. It's just not going to look like it right away. But you're going to do that. Again, turn and fold. And you can see it's already starting to come together. And what you're doing by doing this is you're creating layers within the biscuit. Like that. Press and turn. And if you're going to make them garlic, definitely add in the garlic when you add the dry ingredients, not at the end. I forgot I was going to add that in there. And then you're going to turn like this. I like to press it down just a little bit because it makes it easier to create the folds. All right, we're going to do it one more time and then we'll be done. Like that. All right, so now I'm just going to press it out by hand, and then I'm going to get my biscuit cutter and see how many we can get out of that. Let me wash my hands. I feel like I'm going to do a little bit smaller. I have this set of them biscuits so I can get a few more out. And I will be right back. Okay, my family had showed up a bit earlier than I had anticipated, and so I wasn't able to get this done before they got there, but that's okay. It doesn't take very long to put these together, as you see. And you can see the folding technique. You could see all the layers in the biscuits that are already cut out. This is a really nice method for making biscuits. It really does give you a lot of flaky layers. It makes a really good biscuit. Everyone really enjoyed these, and a lot of them just used it to dip it into the soup or to break it up and then pour the soup on top. You are going to bake these at 450 degrees for 10 to 15 minutes. I did let mine go for 15 minutes. I'd probably honestly do them for about 12. You'll see them here in just a little bit on what they look like when they came out of the oven. They were very, very good. I never put an egg in a biscuit dough before, nor have I added in cream of tartar, but it didn't impact it based on my other recipe that I use. And so I would use this one again. I will make sure to link it down below. Now, I do want to apologize. My voice is very scratchy. I am still recovering from the flu and having pneumonia. And so but I wanted to get this video edited to finally feel a bit better where I could sit down and edit and then voice over this video to finish it up for you guys. So hopefully you will enjoy it. Now make sure when you go to put your biscuits, I spray my pan. Some people don't. I know, I think if you it's varies either way. Some people will take their biscuits and then they will put them really close together. I like to just spread mine out so they can bake a bit more evenly around the edges. And so again, 450 degrees for 10 to 15 minutes. And then every oven is different, so you can check them at 10 and see if you want to let them go another 5 minutes. And like I said, I did mine for 15, and I probably would do it for 12 in my oven. Okay, these are the biscuits as they came out of the oven. You can see those layers. You can see the butter still bubbling. See how crispy they are on the top and the bottom, the edges. That is why I like to separate my biscuits. It's just a personal preference, but you can put them together if you want. And so now what I'm going to be doing is building my soup base for dinner. And so it just takes 2 quarts of chicken stock. And so I had only 1 quart in my pantry. And so I decided to just add in 4 cups of water and then chicken bouillon base that I had on hand to add in and make more chicken stock, basically. I do keep a variety of different things in the house. And while I did have some homemade broth downstairs, I honestly just didn't want to run downstairs and get it. And so I used what I had right there in my kitchen, which actually works out because I was able to finish up this container that I've had. Now you can, if you don't have store-bought chicken stock or chicken broth, you can use the granules, you can use the cubes. It's really doesn't matter. You just want to make a chicken broth base for your soup. And so I'm just going to quickly whisk it up just to make sure it all gets dissolved into the water. And honestly, by the time you put the soup together, that you could not tell at all between the store-bought and then the powder. you couldn't tell. It was really good. So now I'm going to thicken it with a cornstarch slurry. Now, I know I said earlier in my video that this was a keto-friendly soup. It would actually be even friendlier if I didn't put the cornstarch in it. So my husband could eat some of it, but he can't eat a whole lot because of the cornstarch. I did thicken it this way because we were having family over. And so I wanted to make sure I had a bit of a thicker soup just because I wanted a heartier meal. And so just know that if you need this soup to be keto friendly, just leave out the cornstarch and it'll be fine. Again, it was just something I was doing because I was feeding, excuse me, my son and his wife and their children. And so I just wanted to make it a thicker soup. And so now I'm going to be adding in shredded cheddar cheese. It's going to be about, I want to say it was probably about 3 cups worth of cheddar cheese in the beginning. I like a very cheesy soup base for this soup. And the great thing about it is you can use whatever kind of cheese you have on hand. You can mix and match. I'm putting in the cheddar now, but I'm also adding in a bag of what I had left over from our granddaughter's birthday party, which was just shredded Mexican blend. And then I had a little bit left in a Tillamook bag that was maybe a tablespoon or two of cheese left. It wasn't that much. And so that's what I really like about this soup is you can just use whatever you have on hand and it works really, really well together. Typically all of the cheeses melt well and they marry together, and there's not one that overpowers the other. And so again, it's a nice versatile soup. So once I've got the cheese melted, I'm going to add in my seasonings to it. Now, for a shortcut, I love to use the Morton's Nature's Seasons. I just find it to be across the board a nice little seasoning. So it's got salt, pepper, garlic, and onion powder. And I want to say it's parsley or something like that in there. I'd have to go look at the label again, but this is like my go-to seasoning for things. And I really like it. I would say that, start with a teaspoon of it. And then once you add in your heavy cream, taste it and see if you feel like you want to add more. It really is a personal preference. It is also depending on what your family's needs are. If you need to have less salt or whatever, obviously you can back off on the seasoning. It's really gonna just depend on your taste buds. And so for the heavy cream, I added in probably about a cup and a half of heavy cream. Again, making this a bit more keto friendly, adding in that healthy fat helps um, keep you full longer. And then it also adds a richness and a creaminess to it that I was looking for, which would make for a very filling soup, which is what I wanted. It was a cold night. And so this was like a perfect thing for the end of my day. And so I did decide to add a bit more cheese. I honestly don't remember how much. I guess I didn't hit record before I added it. But again, this is where you can just taste it and go. And because I'm not following anybody's recipe, this was just something I created. I really just go by taste. If I'm like, this is cheesy enough, then I'm good. I don't add any more. If I feel like it needs a bit more, I'll add it. And now that the cheese base is where I want it, I'm just going to add in my rotisserie chicken. My husband just chopped up the chicken for me, and I'm just adding it into the soup. And you just let it heat through for just a few minutes, and that's it. And you are ready to go. And under 15 minutes, you have a delicious soup ready to feed your family. So within 30 minutes from biscuits to soup, you can feed your family. And so I just want to thank you guys for joining me for this really quick video. And I will see you guys in the next one. And hopefully that won't be but a few more days as I'm still trying to recover from being sick. So thank you for being patient and waiting on this video. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.